We're filling and chilling today, but it's going to be a little bit different because we're filling the magazines of real guns, as a lot of people in the comments like to call firearms. They're real guns. Not air guns, real guns. On top of all this, I still have this storage locker here. That thing's full of ammo too. We got the Feather AT-9 out. I'm gonna try this Independence 9mm in this thing tomorrow. I did try it out today, and this thing's functioning alright. The big issue is these magazines. Out of, what do I have? I have like 7 mags that came with this. So far, I only have 3 that I know that work right. Apparently, these are Uzi magazines, and to make them work in this thing, they cut this slot right there in it. Apparently, some of the mags, those slots aren't cut properly, I guess, so they don't really fit. I loaded one of the extended mags. These are I think these are 25 rounders. I loaded one of my extended ones in there, and it was absolutely hilarious. The magazine was like the magazine was so far into it that it was blocking the bolt from moving forward. Look at that. So that was interesting. That was a first for me. I also had this gun turned to a bullet press. It misfed a round so bad and slammed it in hard enough that the bullet was pressed. It was like the thing from Doom when they get hit in the head and their head's like smashed into their neck. And it was just like, it was goofy looking. This is what I mean when I'm talking about it turned this gun into a bullet press. That's how pressed in that round got. Pretty nuts. I don't know if you can see it down here, but I'll leave that down there. That was probably the worst I've had happen so far for misfeeds. The one magazine doesn't work. I have 2 or 3 others that don't work either. 2 of them are marked when I bought it, just saying that they aren't going to feed properly. So I haven't even bothered with those. If someone marked that they don't feed properly, then I have one that's just not cut right. And then I have these 3, and then I have 1 extra, but I can't even feed ammo into it. I get like 4 rounds in, and then rounds 1 just keep pushing out. It's bizarre. I've never really experienced that yet until this thing. I don't want to fill this all the way up to 25 rounds because this doesn't have a bolt hold open. With these fully loaded, it really doesn't want to go into seat properly. I mean, I can hold the bolt back, but I'd rather just, now it's in there versus if I load this last round in, I'm never going to be able to squeeze that in there. It just doesn't work. All right, so 1 mag's gone. Let's go over this thing real quick. Ow. Wire stock. Can't really complain about it. It does its job. A little wobbly, but it is what it is. Collapses back down. This button. I'd love to SBR this thing. That'd be pretty friggin' awesome. Chop this barrel, get it threaded, put on a muzzle brake or something cool. Compensator. I think the person who had this before me put this rail on from the factory. There's an option on the site for this gun manufacturer. They're coming back. That they have work where you can get spare parts and whatever, but they install this rail. It's pretty cool to have that. I ripped off the front sight because it was broken. The rear sight, it was pretty interesting, pretty adjustable looking, but that's gone since I don't have the front sight. That was broken, so I just put on the UUQ red dot reflex. My only complaint really so far is where this mag release button is. I prefer it to be like right here. Unless someone has really long fingers. So it's just kind of awkward. You're going to have to grab with this hand and do that. Reliability so far. The only issue I have is with these mags, I think. We're going to try out this ammo. Maybe it was the ammo. I don't know. I had a couple of feeding and ejection problems. I sighted this red dot in pretty loosely. I was only at about maybe 50 feet. It was raining today. I'd love to take down some Texas stars with this thing now that we have some actual magazine capacity and not limited with firearms at 10 round mags or having to buy pre-band. Well, I'm still going to have to buy pre-bands, but at least this thing came with some functioning, decent capacity magazines. Can you imagine if I had like a drum on this thing? That'd be freaking spectacular. What do I not like about this thing? Ow. Well, the magazines suck for one. The safety's pretty basic, but it gets the job done. The trigger, for some reason when I was using it earlier, it actually kind of like, it just didn't really feel that comfortable. I've never had a trigger not feel comfortable, but this is a trigger that doesn't feel comfortable. At least when I was using it for the first time, it wasn't that comfortable. The stock, with it being a wire, I still can't complain that bad. It's sturdy enough. The gun's age, these plastics aren't as nice as modern stuff. They're not super low quality. They're just not something like incredible. I haven't taken it apart. I watched, what is it, Military Arms Channel, Mac. He has this on his channel. It just looks like something straight up. I don't have the I don't even know what to call it, like barrel shroud on it, but if you put that thing on it, it looks like straight up 1980s or like early 90s action movie gun or something, like Stallone or Schwarzenegger would have it or something like that. So now this just begs the question. Now I have to get an Uzi, right? So I can have all these mags. I'm sure these will be interchangeable with an Uzi. I think the Uzi must use this cutout. This is the cutout that this thing uses. Now, this thing was not that cheap. Apparently, these things were going for, I guess it'd probably be considered the high point of its time. Holy shit, that doesn't want to load right. Yeah, so this was like a high point 995 carbine kind of its day. The cheap, affordable, kind of cool little thing for the money. But that was a little over $1,000 used, and it's in pretty decent shape. I was looking at a Mac, it was an M11, like Mac 10 looking thing. For this, being some cheap, back in the day cheap, little carbine, whoever had this took really good care of it versus whoever had that Mac or M11, whatever you want to call it. Because that thing was beat to crap. Oh, and I'll grab my Tech 9 and bring that down real quick too. Alright, so I'm not going to load this right now. I don't want to mess with that. But this thing was having issues. I put one mag through it. I won't get into the specifics of the issue, but it was having issues. So this has a similar finish to the M11, the Mac 10. And if you think that looks a little bit rough, which it does a little bit, that M11 was, it was garbage at that point. I'm going to be out tomorrow. I want to just take down some stars, maybe just, I don't know what else I can just shoot. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm going to bully that cast iron pan. I do have a bunch of videos coming out with that pan. I finally did take out the Zeus today too, but that's going to be like 2 weeks from now, because I already have all this week's coming up and all of next week's already done. So this thing is pretty cool. What do you think? It's pretty cool. Now I have this, but I also have my SP5 coming in soon. I don't know how long that's going to be because it has NFA paperwork and stuff involved. We'll see when that comes in. That thing's going to be friggin' sweet. Gonna be like Die Hard up in here. Fitting for the hair that I still have out there. My Christmas hairs. With the other mags, maybe I have some spare parts and stuff I can swap around, and if I have springs that go bad, maybe the other ones are in better shape. We'll just have to wait and see, but this thing's gonna be coming out. I might have some shorts. I might throw in a couple. I switched my shorts from 2 a day. I originally did 3 a day, which was crazy. Then I was backed off to 2, but now I'm down to 1, but my goal is to do at least 1 a day, and then if I have something like this, where I've been kind of ahead of the game. So I figure I can throw some of these shorts in with this that I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Little snippets here and there, and then space them out and whatnot so it doesn't get boring. So that's the plan, at least. Let's take this thing out tomorrow and just decimate